Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Hey friends, welcome. I wanted to share with you some happy mail that I received. Actually, it was the end of last week. It came very fast. So if you guys are familiar with PM Artist Studio, Mariah contacted me and asked if I would be interested in doing some type of a collaboration with them, even if that just meant, you know, we support each other. Collaboration can look like a million different things. So she just left it very open-ended, which I am all about. So yeah, so I said yes, and I placed an order, and they sent me a few goodies as gifts. So I wanted to go ahead and pull these out and share them with you. Let me start right here. So I don't want anything to distract from whatever I'm looking at first. So this is Diamonds and Dots. This is one of the things that I purchased. And it is a set of 4 stencils. Diamonds and Dots. Diamonds and Dots. Diamonds and Dots. See if I can turn them this way so they'll all fit on screen. Diamonds and Dots. Now let me make sure that they're all fitting on the screen. Let me scoot them down a little bit. So 4 different takes on Diamonds and Dots. And you know, diamonds is a nod to Harlequin for me. And of course y'all know that I love circles. So these are right up my alley. So when I saw them, I really wanted to get them. And something different about their products is that they're made out of Yupo versus Mylar or some other type of plastic material, which Mylar is a type of plastic. But I think these might be the first ones that I've seen that were made out of Yupo. 74-pound Yupo, 100% polypropylene synthetic material. So those are the designs and patterns. What I have noticed is normally the artist's name will be right about here somewhere, or maybe even up here. So I'm guessing that either P or M or both created these designs. So I am not sure, but I always want to give credit where credit is due. But hang tight, I might be using these in a project after I get done with a little show and tell piece. So another thing that I purchased are these stamps, and I'm so excited about them. To be fair, I've never been a huge foam stamp fan, but I think it's because I don't understand them. But I really like these, and I liked the way they looked stamped out on the website. And I love a daisy or a cone flower, and I thought, well, how much happier can the flower get than a daisy? And anything in the sunflower family, I'm all for. So there were a couple of these in this set, but I just chose one. And then this foliage, I always love foliage. And I just love these are kind of freeform. You know, we tend to want our florals and things to be perfect, but there is no perfection in nature. There just isn't, because there's always some type of what we consider flaw, but that's just the natural world. So I'm excited about these. Not sure yet how I'm going to use them. I'm probably just going to have some type of a play session to see how they feel, see how they work with different mediums and whatnot, how they stamp out. But I got them and I'm excited about them. So there is that. And then these are some freebies. So look at this teeny tiny little stencil. Now it is teeny tiny, but I like it. Again, circles, right? What's not to like? I think it's adorable and I want to use it. So this is their schedule. This is kind of their philosophy or their ethos, if you will, and an invitation to go and play. They do go live 4 days a week, which is amazing. So these are some gel plate prints that P made. P is Patricia. And oh look, there's There's the daisy stamp. Oh, there it is. So that's really fun. And that is a stencil. So they've got some stenciling in the background on both of these. Can you see the different layers? And I tell you what, Patricia is painstaking at making her gel plate prints. She has some whimsy and some freedom in the way that she creates, but she also really thinks it through. She's very cerebral in some sense, but she's also spontaneous. And you just have to watch her to understand. You just have to see. So I encourage you guys to watch. But these are very, very pretty. Not sure how I'm going to use them, but I think they might be a pretty good size for an ATC. Yep. So, you know, we are in hashtag ATCs in April 2025. So these may become ATCs. So thank you, Patricia and Mariah, for those things. And this is one of the freebies that I chose. They allowed me to choose two different stencils, or two different products is what they said. So I did, and this one is called Baubles and Stars by Estella Banks. So she is one of the designers. The designs in this set are all created by Estella Banks. Want to know more? Check out our website, planetcreativestudios.com, and then it tells more about the Yubo and how they use it. So very, very nice. I love this. So obviously baubles and then stars, but the baubles to me don't look like baubles. They look like an arabesque, or why can I never remember the name of that pattern that I love so much? It'll come to me as we go. But anyway, really, really like that. That is going to be so much fun. I can just see all the different gel plate prints that we can make on that, the different patterns and things that we can either put through that, or the different colors, or the things that we can put underneath it and have those patterns shine through. Ooh, looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. So that is by the amazing Estella Banks. And then this one is called O Springs. And if I haven't said it before, I really love circles and ovals. And then again, the nod. I did not realize, I mean, I'm pretty reliable. If not stuck, I don't know. But there's the ovals, i.e. circles, and then more little stars, and these are called O Springs. And this is a mask, and this is by Miriam Wolf, and again, you can find her on YouTube as Art Curious by MNW. So I need to go check her out. So I am in love with all of these. So we've got O Springs, just do a little recap, and we've got stars, baubles and stars, O Springs, baubles and stars, and then this is diamonds and dots. We have the 4 of them. Let me move these things. I'm not sure how much of this is actually getting in the screen because I can't see my camera. And then of course is the teeny tiny adorable little guy. I'm going to put that right there. And then these beautiful gel plate prints, and then these foamy stamps, which I'm very excited to play with. I have a cardstock panel, watercolor card that I created, and it is not pretty, but I was using the Hydrus 3 paints, and this is not pretty, but I think what I want to do is use these stencils and some spackle, just some plain old spackle, right? I've been playing with all the different crackles and pastes and things, not all the different, but with several different ones. But I thought, let's take this very not pretty panel and some regular old all-purpose spackle paste and see what we can't do with this. This might end up being the base for some ATCs. So let me see how big it is. It's 4 inches by 9. So we could do the 3.5, and then 2.5 divided by 9. Wouldn't be able to get all 4, but what I could do is cut it down to whatever whatever this divides into by 4, and then I can add another panel to it, either behind it or next to it. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out, but I have ideas. So, do we want to try this one or this one? I really like this with the 4 circles. We're gonna set this baby over there. Or this one that's more triangle, and this one is even more, or not triangle, but diamonds. You know what? I think I'm leaning towards that one because we are still in spring, right? In fact, for many of us, it's just the start of spring. Right now, we are in the great pollination period of spring, and I sat out on my deck a little bit tonight and thought I was going to die because everything turned me yellow. So, oh, there's some mold in that. All right, well, we're going to dig from the other side. So here we go. I am not overthinking this. I am not planning. I'm just going to do some stenciling on here. And I thought I would go with the white instead of black. I just wanted things to be bright on this one. So I'm not going to try to get full coverage, not worrying about that. Just kind of going to go random. I want it to go to the edge though. Wherever it goes, I want it to go to the edge. All right. Oh, that looks fun. That looks happy. All right, let's scoot it down. Let's dig out a little bit more. We want some soft. I need to clean out that mold. I'm not going to do that on camera, but I'll clean it out and then monitor it and see if it's worth saving or not. I don't know how I'm getting mold. I got mold in something else not long ago too. It was really weird. Clearly I'm doing something wrong. I thought this would go on thicker than it does, to be honest. All right, I'm going to call that done. Oh, look, there's moisture in there. Well, that's where the mold's coming from. I don't know what the moisture's from. I haven't sprayed water in it. If you have thoughts, drop them downstairs. Let me know. That is very, very weird. I don't know how there's moisture. Anyway, okay, there's that. And then we're just going to lift that baby. And I got more coverage on there than I really had wanted or anticipated. But look how it pushes all that ugly to the back. Now, I could have done gel plate printing with this. I could have done any number of things. I could have done stamping. I could have done stencils with sprays. There's a million different things I could have done. But I really wanted to play with my new stencils. And I just wanted to see, what we could do with this ugliness and make it something beautiful, because I know that that's always, always possible. Very few things go in the trash. If you are new to me, welcome. And this may be the first time you're hearing it, but I almost never throw things away. Not truly never, but probably 98% of the time. I'll hold on to something and I'll figure out a way to reuse it. And sometimes I'll just challenge myself and pull the ugly and just not leave it sitting, not waiting for an opportune time, but taking that opportune time and challenging myself. And I almost always use a stencil to push that ugly back, because remember, the background is what? The background is just the background. So it becomes mottled color instead of ugly. And what I know with gel plate prints is if you don't like it, probably same with painting to a large degree, especially abstract painting. If you don't like it, you just don't have enough layers yet. So there's that. All right, I'm going to put y'all on hold or on pause. I'm going to clean up a little bit and I'm going to find some stamps and figure out how we're going to make this baby work. Be right back. Okay, so here it is, all dry. It dried very quickly, actually. So let me go ahead and trim it out. So 9 divided by 4 is 2 1/4. So let me do that first. let's do that. So we're going to go 2 1/4. And then I'm going to go 3 1/2. It's flaking off. I'm not liking that, but I don't know what to expect either. 2 1/4. Fine, let me nip some of this end off and some of this end. So let's go 3 1/2. Okay, so now I have those trimmed down, and I will be adding to them so that they will be the right size. So I brought out some different stamps that I thought might be cute on ATCs. Several of the All in Create Sweet Little Girls by Janet Klein. Love this little curly haired girl, and this happy and sad girl, and this little flower girl. She was my first one, and I love her so much. And then this little bee girl. So if I use those, those are my 4 cards right there, right? High possibility. But I also love these little bird stamps from Unity Stamps. They're so dang cute. So dang cute. I wish you could see them better. Let me see. Let me take them off the Mylar because I didn't put them back on very well. But look at how dang cute. And again, there's already 4. So I would fussy cut these. I would not fussy cut these. That's just too much with all their stuff. But I would probably use a die, like either a heart or a square or a circle. I think circles would probably fit them best, suit them best. So they are definitely a possibility as well. So I'll just set them over here like that. And I'm going to make my final decision and then get out my Olo markers and get these stamped and colored up. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and make the actual cards off screen, and I'll be back with the finished product and we'll talk about what I did. All right, my friends, I am back. I have my little ATCs with the no longer so ugly background right up here. But before we kind of reveal those, if you will, I want to show you the products that I used, or the items that I used. So I always like to use some type of a natural element. So I have all these amazing little ribbons. I love ribbons and laces that are made out of cotton or some kind of natural element. Or I might add moss or sticks or leaves or twigs. Yeah, lots of different things. I don't like to add rocks. It's just too much. But I might add sand. You know, it just really depends. But I love a natural element of some sort. So right now I've gone through all of my laces and trims and ribbons, and I have a waterfall hanging on my wall with the longer ones, and the rest of them are, if they're like this, if they're just little bits and bobs, which obviously that's too much to toss, but they're all kept in a little open basket up on my pegboard wall. So I used some of these. And of course I used this one of the 4 options within the Diamonds and Dots stencil pack. It's a set of 4, and each one is uniquely different, but this was the one that I landed on today. And again, this is from PM Artist Studio. All their information is right here. You can pause, jot it down, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do. But I encourage you, hop on over there, check out their lives, check out their replay, check out their shop. You won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. You can become an arty friend of theirs just like you're an arty friend of mine. So there's that one. Also, I stamped in black ink and I heat embossed with clear ink, or clear embossing powder rather. This is an old package from Imagine Crafts. I'm trying to use it up. I have other clears, but they are, I don't know if they've stopped selling their embossing powders or not, But if they're not, they're going out the door. So I want to finish these up. So, but I love the idea of clear embossing powder over a colored ink. I think it just allows that color to shine more brightly. And also, kind of referencing back to the dots on here, I used this embossing folder from Joann's. I think it's the Park Lane line. And I just dry embossed some, what are these called? Swiss dots. Just sweet little Swiss dots to reference back to here and to add some texture, because if you'll remember, my ugly background wasn't quite long enough to be 2.5 inches wide for 4 cards. So we'll address that in just a minute, but I added some extra, which would be this embossed polka dot. And yeah, again, I just wanted to reference back to the polka dot on the stencil. And also referencing back to the stencil, I use this edger die, this pinked edger die, to reference back to the pointy edges of the diamonds. So a couple references back, both very not striking elements, but they're details that you see when you look up close. So the critters that I ended up using are these sweet little baby birds from Unity Stamps called Flock Talk. They do have several others in this line, and they're just really fun. Unity's a great company, so they have all kinds of different things. But I went with these guys, and this is what I stamped and heat embossed in clear, was these. Then to make the base for each of my cards, because I had to trim them down, I used this die. It's exactly 3.5 by 2.5. It's my only die that's actually 3.5 by 2.5 exactly. I have lots of other dies that are about this shape. Most of them are a little longer and a little wider. So anyway, this is what I use. It's Whimsy Stamps Sprinkles Scalloped Rectangle Die Set. So love that one. Use it all the time with my ATCs. Then I also used this from Stampin' Up. It's a Stampin' Cut Embossed. Basically, it's circle dies. And I used, dun dun dun, I get it backwards every time. I used these two. I used this one, which is like a dot and a dash. And then this one is fluted. And there's one other, it's like an eyelet, and they rotate or repeat those 3 patterns on both sets. So this is a nice set to have. And I have other circle dies, but they're pretty much all scalloped, so I wanted something that wasn't a scalloped edge. And when I saw my friend Jana, her YouTube channel is Jana Stamps, and she's also a Stampin' Up demonstrator. But she plays with everything, but she was using these particular dies on one of her projects, and I fell in love with them, and they work perfectly for this project today. And then finally, I feel like there was more I wanted to show you, but if I remember it, it'll pop up. I used this set from Tim Holtz. Now, if you'll recall, when he started this stamp and stencil collection, he did this in collaboration with Joann's. It has, excuse me, since expanded beyond Joann's. You can get these at Simon. Excuse me, I needed a drink. Not sure where else, but anyway, he calls this a Franken stencil. He creates one stencil out of 2 individual stencils, or portions of 2 individual stencils. This is THMM 162, so he has 162 of these sets. That's how he numbers, or Stampers Anonymous numbers his stuff. So Tim Holtz, mixed media, 162. But I love the circles. I am a circle girl all day, every day. And these are the different sentiments. Now these sentiment stamps came from another stamp set as well. I can't remember the name of it, but this is kind of a Reader's Digest version. It's very condensed. It's not the whole thing. And by condensed, I don't necessarily mean the size, though the size is different as well, but it's not the whole collection. So I used these, and these are just so many good things to say. I just love them. Start somewhere, make today amazing, focus on the good, live your story. I am all about story. Talk to my veterans all the time about their story, and their story matters, and their story is important, and their story is theirs to tell. They get to choose who they tell it to. Not everybody deserves to know our story. We get to decide who has earned that. And yes, live your story, whatever it is, live it. Honor it. It's what made you you. Anyway, I digress. I'm sorry. There we go. Oh, so the other things I wanted to say, I pulled from my brown scrap stash, and this again is greatly condensed as well because I went through everything and I'm changing the way I'm storing them. This is one of 3 envelopes of white cardstock scraps, if you can believe it. 3. This is all Nina and other heavyweight cardstocks. The other one is much lighter weight, and then the third one is all watercolor, but it's all white. So there's that. And just as a reminder, I created that background. Remember how ugly it was? I created that background with some of the paints from the Hydrus 3 liquid watercolor palette. So these are the ones that I have out on my palette, but I also sprayed them with water. You can still see some of them are wet because some of them I needed watered down more than others. But I saturated them again with water to reactivate them. And this is what I use to also color the critters. So without further ado, oh, last thing, one more ado. Just as a reminder, I used the spackling paste through the stencil to create that stenciled layer over the ugliness. This was step 1 in pushing the ugly to the background. So you'll see here in just a second how this worked and how every other step after it came together to reduce the ugly. So here they are. I'm going to move Patricia and Mariah up there. But here are my sweetie cutie patooties. Oh my gosh. Let me make sure they're in screen, and they are, and I love them so much. So when I talked about some of the details that you wouldn't necessarily see glaring at you, but if you look close, you'll see them. The first one that I want to talk about is the scallop and the little sprinkles die cut. So that scallop is super, super cute, but not everything deserves a scallop or calls for a scallop, right? So that's why I want to find some other dies that have a different type of edge. I love this, don't get me wrong. That sprinkled scallop edge is sweet, but not everything needs sweet. The other thing is the polka dots. That is where I did the embossing with the embossing folder. And then I have this brown. It's just a strip of scrap cardstock that I use to kind of bridge between the ugly layer and the polka dot layer, and it also highlights the little pinked die cut edge. And then here you can see that I use a natural element. Here, this is a rickrack that I put underneath the Shine Brightly, and I did stamp and heat emboss the sentiments as well. Stamped in black, heat embossed in the clear. And then you can see how I painted him up with those watercolors. And you can see the fluted edging. So all of those details come together, and you see the thing as a whole, right? It's a whole composition. You really don't see the background at all. I mean, you see it, but it doesn't stand out. It's just the background. I always say the background is the background. And whether it's ugly, whether it's beautiful, if you don't highlight it, it's just the background. Even if it's ugly, I'm telling you, because you don't see the ugly in that anymore. It's just a mottled brown background with stenciling and then layers. And it's fantastic. Same with this one. Stamped and heat embossed, die cut, painted with the paints. This is that fluted edge again. This is the polka dot with the brown trim and the pinked edge, the stenciled ugly, the little natural element, and then the sprinkle scallop rectangle die. I'm loving the stenciled bits in the background. Love that. And then this guy as well, same, they're all the same details, they're just a little bit different. Scallop rectangle die, the polka dots, the brown trim, the die cut edge, the natural element there, the ugly background, the stenciled spackle layer, and then the Live Your Story above this guy. And he looks like, what? You want me to do what? And again, he's colored / painted up with the hydrus watercolors. And then for my favorite, look at him. Oh, oh. So the things that totally disappear on this one are the pinked edge dye there, because this little ribbon or bow just covers it up. And you almost don't see the brown, the little brown kind of bridge layer there either. But you do see the joy in this guy. He's being his authentic self. He has all the same details as the others, and they're just stinking fantastic. But the ugly is gone. There is no ugly. And it's not because it's covered, right? It's because there are so many other elements that the mottled brown background just becomes a mottled brown background. There's nothing ugly about these guys. I think they're stinking cute. Y'all let me know, how do you use things that you think are ugly? Do you trash them? I hope you don't trash them. But if you do, I will challenge you, keep one and see what you can do to push that ugly to the back and add layers until it's cute. Or until it gives you the result that you want. Now for me, I often don't go into anything with a full-on idea about what I want, other than I wanted the ugly gone. I wanted to cover the ugly or use the ugly to my favor in some way. That was my goal. What they were going to look like in the end, I didn't know. But that also helps reduce my frustration and disappointment, because if I don't already have a plan in mind, I'm not disappointed with my outcome. In fact, I'm usually pretty pleased with my outcome. And if I'm not, I set it aside. I come back with fresh eyes at another time, or I set it aside and I use it at another time in a different way. So there we have it. But I would encourage you guys, hop over to PM Artist Studio, both their store as well as the YouTube channel, and just check them out. I think you'll enjoy them. They are all about some mixed media, especially gel plate printing, and you know gel plate printing has my heart, and I love, love, love stencils. I already have a wish list going on their website, and I'm going back for the foamy skeleton stamps. Those will be my next purchase. I think Carrie, C-E-R-I, Carrie the Crafter, I think he designed those. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. I'll try to come back and put on screen who the actual designer was if it wasn't Carrie, because I want to give credit where credit's due. But Carrie is one of their designers, and there are several others, as we saw when I shared my stencils in the beginning. But make sure, guys, that you check them out, and if you want to become a part of their crafty tribe, I would definitely encourage it. They've become a part of mine, so they're a part of us here. I invite you guys to welcome them, and I think that's it. So until next time, thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Mariah. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, everyone else, for joining me on this crafty journey and for participating. And one last thing before I go, this is like a doorknob conversation. I forgot to mention the hashtag for April. We don't do one every month, but for April, it's hashtag ATCs in April 2025. I added the 2025 because if it's successful and if we enjoy it, we can carry it on in other years, and we don't have to try to figure out what's from which year as we go along. PM Artist Studio, their Facebook group is called, is it Mixed Media Makers? Something like that. I'll try to link to that downstairs in the description box as well. You have to answer some questions, and then they'll choose if they're going to let you in or not. But they have different events going on over there as well, and one of them is actually an ATC swap. So with that being said, I'm really going to tap out now. I thank you guys for joining me. Again, Patricia, Mariah, I appreciate you guys and your whole Arty team. Thank you for allowing and inviting me to be a part of your Arty Crafty tribe. And until next time, y'all, this has been Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Thanks for joining me on this creative journey. And until the next one, I'm out.